Growing up in Soddy, Mr. Parrott had a nickname based on a character in a comic strip. It literally started the moment he was born.
When the doctor came and delivered me at our house and held me up and saw that I was a boy, he said, "Well, good, here's another Corky."
Mr. Parrott told me in his living room on Signal Mountain, these days most people call him Gene. But growing up in Soddy, everybody called him Corky. In the Air Force, everybody called him Soddy.
Nobody called me Gene, I don't think, in those days, and nobody called me Corky.
In October of 1948, he joined the U.S. Air Force Aviation Cadet program. He trained to fly the F-80. Less than 2 years later, he was flying missions in the Korean War.
We always had 1,800 rounds of 50 caliber machine gun ammo, bullets, and on the wings we'd either have room for two 500-pound bombs, or 4 rockets, and a lot of times we'd be carrying a napalm bomb on either wing.
From the summer of 1950 to the spring of 1951, he flew 104 combat missions.
Well, I never gave it that much thought, I don't think, because I was just young, 22-year-old at the time, and I didn't know what the politics amounted to, and I never looked at it that way.
After he finished his 104th mission, they decided anyone who flew 100 missions got to leave Korea. He spent 8 years active duty in the Air Force, then 12 more years in the Air National Guard. He loved flying, so he continued to work in aviation. He worked for Boeing for a couple of years in Seattle, then flew for a charter airline in California for many more years.
I ended up with a total of somewhere in the neighborhood of 18,000 hours of flight time.
He said he's seen the world: Tokyo, London, Paris, as far north as Greenland, as far south as New Zealand.
I've seen it all.
Hey, Mr. Parrott retired from flying in 1988. A few years later, more than 40 years after leaving the state, he came back home to Tennessee.